I always wanted to do burgers, so I said it's time finally to make my dream come true and do burgers. I never set myself limits. If you really put something in your mind and you're laser focused and you go for it, nobody can defeat you.
Crispy, juicy. Nothing good.
If today I would have to do the same thing here again, I could have not made it.
Alex is actually one of the most knowledgeable people in all things Miami. All right, today we are right outside of Burger Meister, one of the best burger spots of all of Miami. We are literally footsteps from Miami Beach, and we're gonna meet the owner today and talk about his story and maybe even try one of these amazing burgers. Let's go and try Burger Meister. Come on. Hello, sir. How's it going today?
Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. I'm Frank.
I'm Alex.
Alex, thanks so much for inviting me to your restaurant today and everything. So for anybody who doesn't know, Alex is actually one of the most knowledgeable people in all things Miami. On top of that, he decided to start his own burger chain. What year did you start this business?
I started this store in 2018.
2018. Okay.
Yes.
So it was a few years before the pandemic. And what kind of made you want to start a burger spot?
Before, I actually had a deli in this same location here, and the deli was a very niche deli focusing on. I'm German, so at this time I opened a European deli, and unfortunately the numbers didn't make sense to continue it. And I always wanted to do burgers, so as an entrepreneur, if one thing doesn't work,
keep going.
You got to shift and go to the next, you know?
Yeah.
You can never get emotionally attached to your concept. I always wanted to do burgers, so I said it's time finally to make my dream come true and do burgers. So I shifted the store from the deli to the burger shop.
So when you changed up from the deli to the burger spot, me as a business owner myself too, I would be considering whether I stay at this location or move to another location to start that new business. Why did you decide to stay here?
Because I believed in the potential of the location. And sometimes it's not the location, it's the concept. And when I opened the first store, I was very naive about the concept and the location. So I was with the wrong concept in the right location.
So now we're right outside of Miami Beach. Obviously, we're in Miami Beach, and you're 2 blocks away from the beach.
Yes.
Right? Now, I would imagine being so close to the beach comes with its pros and cons. We talked a little bit off camera about the inflation of Miami and what it is. So having a location like this, I would assume it might be a little bit more expensive than if you went with a location a little bit farther away from the beach, right?
Yes.
So when you factor that in, location versus, pricing, do you feel like it's still a good value for a business owner to start a business so close to the beach right now?
Times have changed. So when I opened up here, I had the chance of growing the business in times when it was affordable. Nowadays, to just open up here the way I open up, I open up with the day we opened, I had minus $2,800 in my bank account. I remodeled the store by myself. I did a lot by myself, and I was the cook and my wife was the waitress. So it was a family business of 2 people working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. And we were up for the challenge. And, but back to the financial aspect, if today I would have to do the same thing here again, I could have not made it.
Because of the current pricing or because
of the current pricing, yes.
Oh, wow. So because you've been here for years, essentially you have a better deal than if somebody who was to come in here now?
Yes.
Wow.
And also the economics. At this time, my rent was way lower. Competition wasn't so high because now our market got very much oversaturated in Miami. So now you have, I think it's double more the restaurants than we used to have 6 years ago.
So coming from, you said Germany, right?
Yes.
Germany. When did you move to America?
I came here in the year 2000.
2000.
So I moved to America year 2000. I had $500 in my pocket.
Okay.
I started off as a waiter on a very popular street here, Lincoln Road. Started off as a waiter, and September 11 happened.
Like right after?
Like a year and a half.
A year, okay.
A year and a bit after.
Okay.
I moved here, and Miami collapsed. Tourism collapsed. Nobody came to Miami. So I moved to New York, continued as a waiter first, but then got my first manager position in a very renowned restaurant in New York, where I also didn't give up. I went to interviews like 5 times.
Wow.
And I finally was hired and became a manager after being a server in that restaurant. It was Baltazar in New York.
Wow. Awesome. So, but if you're going from a city that's expensive like Miami and you move to an even more expensive city like New York, what was the thought process at the time? Was it just that because because you're in the food industry, you felt like there was more opportunity in New York, or?
Yes, friends called me. They said, New York, everybody's trying to make a point after the attacks. Everybody's out and about showing that New York is not to be defeated. So people were actually out and spending money after September 11, So I heard about it. I went there and, I never set myself limits. I believe if you really put something in your mind and you're laser focused and you go for it, nobody can defeat you.
And was this your goal ultimately, to have your own restaurant, or was it just, did you do it mostly this business from the love of the food, or was it a way that you saw, okay, it could be a profitable way to actually make money?
I think it was a combination of both. I think it was a combination of my first footstep into America. I have to mention, I was illegal. I didn't have any green card or anything.
Wow. Okay.
So I was many years illegal here in the US. So working in a restaurant was one of the only jobs that you could get as an illegal immigrant. So then I established myself so well into it that I saw that I learned so much about the industry that I said, I can make money with having my own little spot. And I said, from day one when I got here, I said, I don't want to work forever for somebody. So the first 8 years after moving to the US, I worked 8 years without a day off. And I sacrificed a lot to save money to open my first spot.
So that's a real story. Nowadays, it's so much harder now for somebody to come into America and really be able to have the same American dream.
Yes.
If somebody's watching this and they're not from America, they want to have an American dream. You say you started with $500, which I don't know what that means. Does that mean a lot of roommates, or what is that? What does that really mean?
Well, it started off, I checked in a little motel here that was $50 a night, up the street actually.
Okay.
And later I lived in a motel that's down there, a couple of blocks from here, which is funny, how life turns around. But I had no fear. I was 24 years old and I said, I can make it. So I went to restaurants. I asked for a waiter job. I have to say I speak 6 languages. That helps,
Wow. Okay.
So I was hired pretty quick on the spot, and I made sure that I'm going to be the best and most reliable employee. And, that was very much valued by many, many of the businesses that I work for.
Getting a restaurant like this together, it involves you being involved with the business a lot, right?
Yes.
So what does the day-to-day kind of look like when it comes to running this business? Are you or your wife always at the business, or do you have help?
Well, at the beginning, yes, you have to. I think it's a way of, first you have to be in the business, and then you have to operate out of the business. It's important to always check up, inspect what you expect. That's the most important factor of a business. You can't just rely that everything will go well. You always have to inspect what you expect from your employees. But at a certain time, it sometimes is better for the business, because you don't want to buy a business and just to buy yourself a job. There's buying a business or opening a business where you are the employee, even though you're the owner, but you become the employer for many years. But then at a certain point, you have to make sure that you want to shift from being in the business, the employee, to become out of the business that manages the business. And it helps because you get burnt out. There's only so many years that you can do the same thing over and over again through good times to bad times and being the actual employee, And what if you get sick? Then what? The business closes, So you have to build up on it that you physically don't have to be there, But what I saw is the good thing of me being first my own employee was to understand what it takes for the business to run, what it takes being an employee in my business, And the value of employees is very important, to treat them right, to pay them right. And if you want to be out of the business, you need to make sure that you don't watch every little percentage of profit. You need to make sure that you are profitable, which is very, very hard, even though you need to make sure a certain percentage goes back to your employees, because then they become more than just your employees. They become, they represent you, they show face for the business, and they represent you just as like you would be there, because they get paid. They're part of that family,
Yeah. Now in 2026, saying that become an employee before you become a business owner, it seems like nowadays people want things quickly, right? Yeah. It's more of a microwave society, right? I want it now. I want the business now. And I think that this doesn't apply just to restaurants, right? A lot of business owners.
Yes.
Are most business owners that are successful that did they start as employees within their industry, or did they say, I want to own my own business. Let me get a business loan and just get started and see if I succeed or not.
I think the pattern that I see for many successful business owners is that they have been either in that industry or they have had a great idea out of the industry that they are in, but they have, however, then shown full dedication to that business. And you can name anybody. You can name Amazon, he quit his job, but he had a full vision. And then the business, if you are really dedicated to it, the business dedicates itself. The business will show you which way to go, because sometimes, and that's why you can't be so focused on your own vision. You need to let the market dedicate what they want from you as a business.
And, obviously we're going to go in there pretty soon to check out the restaurant. I definitely want to do so. And if you wouldn't mind, I would definitely love to try a burger before I go. Like I'm pretty hungry. I'm pretty hungry. It's past lunchtime at this point. Before that, just to get into your story a little bit more, you decided to start an Instagram. A lot of people already know you from this community.
Yes.
And, I'm from DC and I came across your channel from all the way in DC. So what made you want to start your Instagram? And if you could just tell a little bit about what type of content you talk about.
So I'm at 26 years local. That obviously now you know the story, made it here from nothing. I love the city and I have seen a lot of the city's ups and downs. The recent shift of the post-pandemic is something that has hurt a lot of people from the middle class in our city. And everything about Miami is constantly hype content. Everybody is an influencer. Everybody's a life coach. Everybody's glamorous and famous. And that's just a facade. And I see right through it because I see the reality here. And I got tired of it. And I said, I'm going to speak about the reality of our city. What the normal day-to-day life is in Miami. What the majority of Miami is experiencing. And these are people that nobody speaks up for them. So I've decided I'm going to speak up for the working class because that's who I am, that's what I've been before, that's what my employees are. And I decided to speak up on it, dig into it, what the reasons are, because I always like to understand what are the patterns, what are the reasons, what is the influence, because everything is influenced by something. And that's why I started, and it has gotten a lot of support from the local community. Many are congratulating me about the channel, and it's addressing the reality of Miami.
Are you surprised by the level of success that has gone?
Yes, very much. At one point, it was a small circle of my employees that are struggling with the cost of living. Then I heard from my barber that started to say he moved 3 times within 3 years because the rent keeps increasing. I saw it at the supermarket that people are paying with their little piggy banks again. I said, if this is the best and richest city in America, how come I see so many people suffering? And first I thought maybe it's just what I'm seeing, but now it's overwhelmingly confirming my views.
So from all the changes that has been going on with the city post-COVID, right? Do you think Miami will ever be what it used to be?
No, unfortunately not. And that's the saddest part, because we are losing what made Miami. We are losing the reason why so many people have moved here now. We're losing our culture. We're losing our soul of our city. We are becoming a concrete jungle, just like Manhattan. It's building over building over building. It's domestic financial investments. It's international. So this massive influx of money that has come into the city that the infrastructure can hold up on it. Yeah. Traffic has got terrible. Our streets are in bad conditions. The infrastructure can't keep up with the growth of the city. And the people that have built the city are all leaving now.
Wow. So they're leaving, and we're days away from the World Cup officially getting started, right? I mean, the players are already here. They're getting suited up. This hype that we thought was going to happen with the World Cup. Oh, people are going to come here, left and right. The hotels are going to be fully booked. What have you actually seen is playing out?
Well, it's the opposite, because we have priced out the people that actually enjoy soccer, which is the working class. We have priced them out. Our hotel rooms have become ridiculously expensive. Our cost of hotels, car rentals, restaurants, because it's a domino effect. So if now the rent got increased so highly, food cost is up, obviously menu prices start to increase. So now we are charging prices that many can't afford anymore, which shows them less covers, less income. And we have seen massive business closures just over the 6 months. So the World Cup now, since it's so expensive, many international tourists haven't come. Locals can't afford it. Ticket prices are outrageously expensive. It will be busy, but not what a World Cup should be.
Wow. Not like the winter time, for instance. It's not going to be gonna be that.
And we're gonna experience the worst summer in Miami's history.
The worst summer right now.
It's the worst summer because, like I said, we have 75% of our population is financially struggling.
I know.
And international tourism has softened drastically. So now we have more restaurants than ever before. Everything gotten expensive. So we have less people going out and dining, actually.
Yeah. So you guys are known for having like really high quality burgers here, right?
Yes.
I mean, you haven't brought the quality down, even though I'm sure your expenses have gone up.
Once I do that, I lose my business, you know? So you can never look, what I always say is, you always got to look at the guy in the mirror. You know, you can't sit here and say, you know, I don't care who's the president, if it's red or blue, whatever it is. I don't care whatever the situation is. You always got to look at yourself and say, okay, there's many businesses that open in recessions. How they open in recessions? There's always the moment where you got to analyze your market, yourself. What obviously you have to cut costs here and there, but it can never be the cost of your product, of what brings you the income. So you have to focus on it. You have to be calm about it. You have to do the right. You have to try to always predict what's going to come to you in order to, it's better to be proactive than to reactive. So I'm always trying to be proactive, and I keep my quality. I keep my prices low. I rather lose a little of my profit or most of the profit because there's cycles in life. You know, there's good times, then come bad times. We had COVID, you know. I, for example, was thriving during the COVID time. I was very busy, but so many businesses closed that I stayed put and I stayed strong, and I did the opposite. You know, I said, instead of raising my prices to make it through COVID, I gave 20% discount for diners that would come here and pick up their food. So I would spend more on marketing during that time. I would be more aggressive on reaching out to people than I didn't have to do before. So I always try to predict the market. It's important to be aware and to be knowledgeable of the macro, but focus on the micro, what you yourself can do. Don't blame anybody, because it's always going to be your fault not doing the right move at the right time.
Wow, I would love to try one of these amazing burgers. Yeah, so I would love to try one of you guys' burgers.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So this is our little kitchen where we make the magic happen.
Okay.
Please come inside. So we have a very tiny kitchen here.
All right.
And we started off very small. And in high season, we do to 1,000 customers sometimes a day. So the kitchen gets stressed a lot.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, how does he make it happen?
But I have the best team.
Yeah.
Now this type of season right now is a walk in the park for them, you know?
Yeah.
So this guy is Alfred. He's been with me many years already. I think Ruben here has been with us also many, many years.
Okay.
And yeah, come check it out.
Yeah, take a look at some of
So
that
as you
food.
can see, we keep everything extremely clean. Cleanliness is for me like non-negotiable. Like everything is shiny. We always clean night, morning, during the shift. So what you like to have? What burger?
So a cheeseburger for me, a bacon cheeseburger.
Lettuce, tomatoes, onions?
No, probably no, just a cheeseburger.
Plain cheeseburger with bacon, okay?
Yeah. And
all right.
for you?
Same. All right, let's do. And medium rare?
Medium rare.
Medium rare?
Yeah.
All right.
And what is some of the most popular items on the menu here?
So we make our own creations of the burger.
Okay.
What is important is we're not a smash burger place. I didn't want to be a smash burger place. There was a trend, so everybody opened up smash burger places. We are an 8-ounce thick patty. That's why we take temps. And our mixture is filet mignon, tenderloin, and chuck. So very high quality meat. Our breads are baked daily by a bakery. We don't make them in-house, but the bakery makes a specialty bread for us, which is a mix between a potato and a brioche bun. We make everything from scratch. Our sauces are made in-house. Our cheese sauce he's making right there. So the cheese fries, we don't buy it out of a can. We make everything from scratch. All our sauces, from the buffalo to the cilantro mayos to truffle aioli, everything is made in-house. We're from scratch kitchen. So we try to buy as less canned food as possible, you know?
I feel like if I owned this place, I'd be eating here all the time. How often do you eat here too?
Well, I did at the very beginning, but then you, at one point, you know, I would say twice a week still.
Okay.
Twice a week, you know. I do it also because I want to see always the quality that keeps up, you know.
Yeah.
So I have to eat my own product. And yeah, we make the bacon. We buy applewood. We have everything is fresh, as you can see.
Yeah.
Nothing is this pre-baked bacon that many stores use, you know. It's like the little thin paper bacon. And produce, everything highest quality ingredients.
Nice. So would you say that most of your customers now, is it repeated customers or is it through tourism that you get a lot of business?
I think it's 70% local, 30% tourists. We are big in the local community. We have a lot of support from the locals, and that actually keeps us surviving in the summertime, because Miami does drop heavily during slow season, which is the summer season.
So in the summer, I heard that some residents actually leave, right, to go other places. A lot.
Yeah, because we have people, we have New Yorkers living here. We have people from up north living here. So most of them are Europeans. Most of them leave in the summertime. It's been like this since ever in Miami, because it's the hottest season. It gets very sticky, very humid. So a lot of these folks don't want to stay during that season. It's also always the fear of the hurricane season, you know, that we do have in summer. It's still the end of October. We are now in hurricane season. So it's when people leave, you know?
Yeah. So we talked a little bit off camera that like 20% of the residents living below
the poverty line,
right? And then a majority are just getting by. So when you're saying that people are leaving here in the summer, are you talking about those that are upper middle class? Like, who is actually able to afford to leave and then come back? How does that work typically?
So before, what it used to be is, yes, most people that had businesses, they would leave.
Okay.
You had retirement folks that had their homes up north as well, Canada, New York, Boston. So they would come, but then they would leave during the summertime because it's beautiful up north as well. Yeah? It was affordable for them. Now we are seeing that less and less happening. You know, we have a lot of people actually leaving the city. There's a shift. We're losing a lot of the workforce folks and have more of wealthy people moving into the city. You know, what happens with that is when you have 75% of our population that is now struggling officially, then they go out less to eat. So we will see that in summer more than ever before, because there's now not the balance of having the influx of tourism.
Yeah.
So now these people that would support you in summer, they will support you less in summer, you know?
Yeah, because like when it comes to burgers, like to me, that's comfort food, right?
Yes.
So in my thought process, it would be like, I don't look at burgers as like a specialty once a week, let's go out and treat ourselves. It's kind of like, I like to eat burgers almost every day if I can.
Yeah, so it's a popular item.
Yeah. So for the most part, do people treat this place as like, now that things are getting less affordable, is it like a specialty thing now? Or would you say that because things are more, you know, less affordable, you know, they'll, you know, cook in a lot more than they'll come to a burger spot?
Yes. So we've seen a drop in sales with this summer, for example, seeing that there's locals are coming. You know, we are blessed with a massive local support. So they are coming. But like you said, this is a thing you can eat 4 or 5 times a week. And since I always made sure to stay affordable, you know, I never wanted to get on a greed wagon, because that will kill my business, in my opinion. Maybe it could work, but I don't want to try it, you know? I wanted to stay loyal to not being a tourist joint, but being a local joint, you know? So I charged fair prices, what I would charge to my locals, which we're doing. So, and that's why the tourists love us as well, you know?
So if you, your wife, and your family weren't here in the day-to-day, do you believe your business would have made it as long as it's did?
I think if you're not in at least the first 3 years full-time in your business, it will not make it, you know? It's impossible. You need to be there to understand your business, to feel your business, the pulse of your business, the needs of your business, you know? And you only do that if you're there in a day-to-day operation, you know?
Okay. And with a lot of people are just not eating in-store nowadays. What I'm starting to see is that there's a trend of people doing Uber Eats, you know, not necessarily eating inside restaurants. How much of your business is just deliverables versus people coming in and getting food?
It's actually not that high of a percentage, because actually what you see now more and more is, since these delivery apps have become totally abusive to the consumer. You know, they have always been trying to be consumer friendly. I could give you a whole speech of 30 minutes about delivery apps. You know, the restaurant, which is their main partner, is always the lowest in the food chain. You know, they're more consumer oriented than, because it's both partners. You know, it's the one that produces it, the one that consumes it for the app. But the restaurant, if the consumer is not happy, the restaurant pays for it. The app or the consumer will never pay for mistakes, even they're made by the app or by the consumer. So, but nowadays they have abused that system, the app, Uber Eats, DoorDash. So the delivery fees have become so high that now when you see that in a stressful economy, people do want to go out. You know, so if they can skip the high delivery part, they come down and have a burger and sit at the bar, enjoy it actually, you know? And like you said, it became more and more cooking in, you know? A lot of people cook now at home that they didn't used to do that before as much as they do now. So I think the delivery has dropped because of those factors as well.
So do you think Uber Eats, DoorDash, is that a net positive to the restaurant industry? Or do you think it was better before these apps existed?
Better before because you would do your own delivery service, you know? So nowadays, the profits on these delivery apps, if you're lucky, you make between 2 and 4%. So it's not really worth it, you know, for us. Because it's a huge headache. I think it will have a shift. They will have to come to terms as well. But it's a marketing tool for restaurants. It's not even to make money with it. You know, if you're not on it, it's bad. If you're on it, it's also bad. But you have to be on it. So you're a business that is seen. It's a marketing app at the end of the day that you try to break even on.
So they, in the beginning, I'm sure their fees were lowered to kind of get restaurants pulled in. And their whole marketing strategy was, we'll get them in and then they'll need us at some point and we'll increase our rates. Is that what's been happening?
That's been happening, yes. And you have, unfortunately, there's always good and bad people. You know, you have a lot of bad customers that take advantage of that system that they understood that only if they complain, you know, they don't have to pay. So, for example, and now with AI coming to the game, you know, we have a combo. It's a burger and a fry, you know? So we send it. So then we get a claim on DoorDash. They're saying, I only got the fries. I never got the burger. They take a picture. Erase the burger out of it and then send it to DoorDash and say, see, this is my proof. You know, meanwhile, it's an AI generated. You know, my guys, they're pretty smart, you know, they're not dumb. Like we ordered 2 cheeseburgers now, we're going to get 2 cheeseburgers, you know? He's looking at the screen, he gets the order. So if it's a burger combo, he's not going to say, I'm just going to send fries and screw the burger, you know? So that's the fraud that's happening as well. And who gets paid? Who's paying for it? The restaurant.
Wow. Yeah. Because from a consumer's perspective, they don't know these facts, right?
No.
So they're thinking you guys are making massive profits. They see the fees that are added on top. They see that, oh, you're asking for a tip now on top of that. So these fees, these tips, everything, a lot of it's just coming back to Uber Eats.
And here's the crazy part. So let's now say, you know, Uber says, well, the consumer is right, they didn't get the burger. But you don't only lose the burger, meaning the 100% of that sale, they're also charging you their fees. So now you are minus. Now you're paying a fee that I got nothing, so I'm paying them. And then I make up that fee from the next sale. If God bless, they don't make another claim. You know, it's very difficult.
It's tough system. Tough system, yes.
Yeah.
With this space right here, right? Is this for 1 cook, 2 cooks? What's the essential lineup?
Right now, it's, you know, it's downtime, afternoon, lunch, and but 2 cooks. I have, luckily, I'm blessed. I have great employees. That's why I also pay them well. So I keep that team with me. Yeah. Because they do magic. They crank out easily all these burgers. I mean, sometimes the wait time gets a little longer, but I always say the best decor of a restaurant is people. Yeah. People attract people. Yeah. And you can have the most beautiful restaurant. If it's empty and you sit there alone, you feel pretty weird. You can have a mediocre restaurant that's completely packed. You feel the energy of the room, you know? Yeah. So guests are the best decor in a restaurant.
Yeah, being able to keep like such a loyal team over these years, that's not easy to do, right?
No, you need to treat your staff just like you want your customers to be treated, you know? If you want to treat them just like you want to be treated, you know? You need to understand them, you need to understand life, and you need to deal with it, because a lot of their private life food is like art. So if they're not in a good place, the food is going to come out ugly. The taste is not going to be there. At the end of the day, I can't be here 24/7. So the guy up front, if I don't treat him right, he's not going to treat my guests right, you know? That's why we need to always make sure that your employees are well taken care of. And then it's up to you. I always say hire hire fast, fire faster, meaning there is no trying to grow into it. Either you have that energy, either you have the right employee or you're not. So don't fool yourself keeping somebody on board that is not going to give you what you give. So if you make sure your part is right as an employer and you not get that same return, that's just like business. It's a lost investment, So better try to find right away the next person. And if it takes you as an owner to take shifts to cover that position till you find that right person, you got to do that, Otherwise, your business will suffer from it.
Yeah, so many people have been laid off, right? Especially over the last couple of years. We're seeing that blue collar, working with your hands, have actually been more opportunities than if you're trying to get into technology or some of these white collar fields. So if somebody is trying to interview to work with you, for you, what are some of the things that you're looking for? Is it more so attitude or experience? Which one do you kind of lean more to?
I would say always attitude. Experience can be learned, experience. I have many of these guys that all of them that work here started off as dishwashers. Okay. So we breed them in-house. We let them learn little by little. So we have our superstars that started, and then little by little we have ingrown our own talent. We give them opportunities that gives them a raise, so they grow within the company.
Yeah. So you have a goal for them. Like you sit them down in the beginning, like here's where you started, but here's where you could be.
So sky's the limit. If I open more stores, let's grow together. The first soldiers that were on my side in my first battle, they're going to grow with me. I'm not going to forget that. And the thing is, imagine you have the best chef, but the guy is always either drunk, late, drama at home, constantly never 100%. Or you have a guy that starts off a dishwasher that's totally eager to learn, that is always on time, that is always nice. The energy has to be right. For me, energy is everything. So I can't work with a grumpy person, I'm not going to have a person that's very negative in my business where I want to be positive. So all these things are details that I like to pay attention to,
And if you wouldn't mind, for just people watching, just to give us a few insights, if somebody's looking to start their own business, right, in the Miami area, what is the square footage of this space? And you mentioned that the rent that you're paying is less than somebody who was to get into this, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say that your rent is for this space compared to somebody who, if they wanted to start, what would that look like for them?
So when I started here, it was, I think, $40 a foot, $45 a foot.
Okay.
This is about 1,400 square feet. Now I'm at 70, and I have a great landlord. I'm very lucky with my landlord. When you guys came, I was sitting down with the son from the landlord that actually took over his father's business.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, that was him.
Okay.
We're in good terms. Yeah. I've been here on this block now since, I think, 17 years. It is now many years. And one of the best landlords you could imagine. He sees how, when I started on this block here, there was only another restaurant here and the one on the corner. All these other restaurants came with us. So we have built the block. He's a great landlord. He's very wealthy. So I don't think he really needs that, So he's not giving us a hard time. He's not squeezing us. So we are paying right now 70. The market rate right now in Miami goes anywhere from $90 to $350 a square foot. For example, these restaurants in Ocean Drive, they pay easy $300 a square foot, $350. So then it doesn't make sense anymore,
The ones on the strip right there, where you drive down the one way. And how are they affording that? How are they making any money from that type of...
Right now, the word is the couple will close. It's just not feasible anymore. It doesn't make sense anymore. And I would say you always have to write an honest business plan. When you want to open something, you need to pay attention writing an honest business plan, not for the landlord, not for your family member that you want to impress. You have to be honest based on market research. What is the medium income in the surrounding area of my business? What's the demographic that I have around? In talking about restaurants now, different formulas apply to different types of businesses. So for restaurants, who's my demographic? Who's around me? What's my competition around me? What is my payroll going to be? What is the initial investment? Can I survive the first 3-4 months without making any income? So putting ego and dreams aside and put a full vision based on data in your first true business plan. And then if you see a space and you say, wow, this is a great location, I can afford double the rent than I projected to have, don't do it. Stick with the most brutal initial plan. Okay. Find your numbers, stick with those numbers, because then you have something serious to predict. Okay. And always try to make it worse as you even think after data it would be. Always lowball yourself to get a true understanding. Hey, it's going to be very hard and I'm going to be up for it, but these are the numbers that I have to predict. And then if you go above that that's going to give you new energy. That's going to make you feel good because you're beating your initial business plan.
Yeah.
And now you feel good about the income that you make, you know?
All right. So, because value can be seen on two sides, right? You can pay a ton of money, but if the returns, if the revenue is way above your expenses, it can be worth it, right? But what you're saying is for a new business owner, try to go more conservative. Don't get the most expensive spot that has the highest opportunity.
Yeah.
Get something more conservative that it's not going to make the most profit. It doesn't project that, but at least you'll be able to pay your bills.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So going from here, $30 per square foot to now 45. So you're 70 at this point. 70 square foot in here to just 2 blocks away being at 200. You were saying
it's just a block away already.
Block away.
I'm lucky that I've been here for so long. Great landlord, great lease. You know, it's important because a lot of people sign leases. And why do you see restaurants closing now? Because these were pre-pandemic leases. Usually the terms are anywhere between 5 and 10 years. So usually you had 5 years with an option of another 5, you know? So you have 10 years of business. That's also a thing. Is the building going to be sold where you put your business in? Because now you're investing in a store, $600,000, $700,000. And you have a time limit of 10 years or 5 years, you know, so does it make sense? Is the landlord going to increase my rent ridiculously after 5 years, or is the option included to a cap of how much it can increase the rent, you know? So you need to look at that as well, the terms and the lengths of your leases. That's very important as well.
So the commercial side is actually tends to be longer leases. And if somebody is just renting an apartment somewhere, you're not going to find 1-2 year leases for a restaurant often. It's usually going to be closer to
pop-up places, but then why would you invest in that? It doesn't make any sense, you know? Because when you just start to establish, you know, the first restaurants fail in the first 3 years, the majority of restaurants. And so you just start growing after really the 4th year. So now it comes to 5th year and you're either, the landlord is going to let you go or your rent is going to increase to a ridiculous amount where you just started to make it and you get slapped over your head again. You know, that's so you need to be really, in the restaurant industry, you need to be very financial savvy. A lot of people always look, oh, restaurants are great. How difficult can it be to make a sandwich? But to calculate the food costs on the sandwich, how much do I have to charge? How much does the market allow me to charge? What do I need to charge? It's a lot of number varieties. Nowadays with Instagram and all that, you become an actor because you got to make videos so you can put out content. So you stay relevant in all the massive amount of algorithm of food content, you know, and how much do you stand out? So it's a very diversified business, restaurants.
Well, thank you for letting us know the insights.
Let's try the burger.
Everything. Yeah, let's try the food. And, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. After all that talking, I finally got my hands on this burger. Now I'm a bacon cheeseburger fan. Like, no lettuce, no tomatoes. Don't judge me. We're just gonna try this out right now. Oh man. First of all, look at the size of that thing. Just zoom in. Look at that. Moist. Look at that. Bacon looking good. Crispy. Juicy. And then they even got their logo on it. Who puts a logo on a burger? Like, that is amazing. That's good. Medium rare. I got this medium rare. You can see it's juicy inside. Perfectly cooked. Thick burger. And like you said, like Alex said, he hasn't increased the prices a lot. He decided to keep the prices low, even though it's really good quality for his customers. So you get good quality, you get a great location. We're 1 block from the beach, and then you get all this food. Like, if you guys are ever in Miami, you gotta come to Burger Meister.